Good evening. Hello, everyone. Let me get a 5x5 if you can hear me all right, if I sound okay. Not too low, not too loud. Sherman Sales, first in the house. Jacob S., how you doing? Prepping Plumber, hey, brother, how you doing? Jacob, let's see. James Price, hello. Thank you for being here. Can you hear me? Can you hear the words coming out of my mouth? Let me know down there. We got 6 people. Well, it was 8, now 6. 556. Hey. Oh, somebody's blocked. Dome Seeker was on it before I get there. Thank you. I had no idea until like a second ago, well, actually about 1 minute ago, that the Super Bowl was tonight. So those of you that are here, awesome sauce. Those of you catching this afterwards, well, really, the Super Bowl? I didn't even know. I don't even follow football. After all their bullshit, I'm one of the true guys that said I will never watch football after all their bullshit. And a lot of people are like, oh, well, they apologize. Fucking apology. Nazis said they were sorry. You can't change the past. Anyway, hello to everybody that's in here, and thank you for your time. Thank you, Dome Seeker, for being here. That was supposed to say, hey, copy that. Bryce McBride, Coffee First and Speak, Sherry Bogan, thank you all for being here, Forgiving Rich, Jareth Hogan. Now, I've done videos in the past, and those of you that were here when this was OFC Nation back in the day know I've done EMP videos talking about it. I wanted to readdress it because, I got a nice email from Patricia Hobbs. I know you're still watching, Patricia. And she was very concerned. She directed me to, I can't remember his name right now, but he does all kinds of videos. He does the Boots on the Ground series. And he talked about EMP. And a lot of people are worried, EMP will knock us back to the Dark Ages or the Stone Ages. Calm down. It wouldn't be that serious. Even if all the power went out, there'd be a little bit of chaos. But one thing you have to remember, bear in mind, is that we would still have all the knowledge that we've gained since the Dark Ages, since the Stone Ages. All right, they're in these hidden. They're hidden, and a lot of you know where to find the knowledge. It's in these things called books. A lot of liberals forget that there's libraries out there, and they have these books. You can open them up, and you can look inside. And the knowledge is in there, all right? From how to make penicillin to how to do heart surgery. It's all in there. So this video is more to help calm people down because people are getting too spun up about a great many things lately, all right? People's anxieties are going through the roof, I'm sure. There's that Beaverines. Again, we're DEFCON level, whatever, the guy up north that sells everything to everybody, and does videos. He's on there already, a little bit ago, DEFCON level UFO. The more that we've already discussed who big they is, the more they can get you anxious, nervous, on edge. The more shit that they can pull, because while you're looking over here, they're sliding in shit over here on all different levels. But an EMP would not knock us to the Dark Ages or the Stone Ages or even the Wild West. As we've discussed before, the Wild West wasn't that wild because we'd still have the knowledge, the foundation. Would things get tough? Yes. Amish living is not easy, I'm certain. I've never lived like an Amish person. However, I'm pretty sure I could adapt. My children could adapt. You could adapt to living like the Amish. The only difference is, unlike the Amish, most of us will have high-powered rifles. Let me hop in. Let me hop in the chat real quick here. What is this book you talk about? Can I find it at that place called a library? Yes, Jareth Hogan. At the library, big buildings, all right? Usually made out of brick. and mortar, but they're out there, and they're in paper, so that even if everything goes away, you don't have to, and you can't count on this thing anymore, this computer, this interweb of knowledge. The stuff is still out there. Yes, Uncle, who's that? Uncle Charlie. I haven't seen you in a while, Charlie. Yes, the sun could do it. It doesn't have to be a high altitude, unidentified flying object. And let's back this up. I've seen people today talking about Operation Bluebird, and some people talking about UFOs as in like extraterrestrials, like ET types. Real quick, off the EMP topic, if UFOs actually did come from other places, their technology we could agree, would be significantly more advanced than our own. We have stealth bombers that can evade enemy detection. I'm fairly certain that the vessels they would have would be similar to like those seen in the Predator movies, where you wouldn't even see them. Neither would our government. So, yeah, there's that. All right. Back to the EMP real quick. No one is for certain how devastating an EMP would be. However, it's a fairly simple concept. Electromagnetic pulses travel through the airwaves and overload circuits. Now, you got to remember, those of you, especially you guys with the portable ham radios and things like that you have an ammo can in your house, just that alone is probably going to keep your equipment safe. Why? Because electromagnetic radiation doesn't just, it's electricity. It likes to follow current, things that conduct electricity. All right. It doesn't want to shoot through concrete. It doesn't want to shoot through plaster and fiberglass. It wants to follow the path of least resistance. And just like lightning rods, most of metal roofing, metal substructures will absorb EMP, electromagnetic radiation. All right. Now, if you had a ham radio and you had it sitting outside on the hood of your car and an EMP went off, yeah, it's probably toast. Your car, you got let's guess. I'm guessing here, 20% chance your car will be okay. And if it's an older car that doesn't have all the microchips and things like that, you're fine. If you've got a 1976 Dodge Dart, you're going to be rocking Mad Max after the fact, okay? Whereas a lot of people won't. But when we had the Carrington event, what was that? Someone dropped the year of the Carrington event, 1914, something like that, where the coronal mass ejection hit the earth. It was primarily the telegraph wires that went, which were big exposed metal wires that ran across poles. All right. Yes, today it would probably have devastating effects on transformers, things like that. And you grid down. But as far as smaller electronics that are already shielded inside places, those will probably be okay, except for things that are plugged in. If you have your ham radio plugged in, charging it to the wall, and an EMP surges through the power lines outside, follows right down into your house, blows every circuit in your house, guess what? Anything plugged into it's probably going to go too. Let me hop in the chair. Scott C. The biggest threat is actually to the wired infrastructure, especially since those long lengths. Yes, that's just what I was saying. Michael G., how you doing? Kevin Ramsey, thank you for being here. Uncle Charlie says, my 75 F100 with a 390 will be fine. Absolutely. Yes, it will. 1859. Okay, coffee first, then speak. Thank you. 1859. I'm horrible with dates. I know what happened, when, not so much. So there's that. Calm down. All these things about UFOs. Calm down. All right. Think about it like this. I've said before in the past, if an EMP goes, what can you do? You personally do right now or in the next year to stop an EMP from happening? If the answer is nothing, don't worry about it. What could you do, to stop extraterrestrials from landing motherships here? If the answer is nothing, then don't worry about it. All right. Worry about the shit that you can take care of, that you can handle. And yes, Uncle Charlie, not all EMPs are equal. Same as not all CMEs are equal. It's a prepping plumber says, wouldn't a voltage charge through power lines stop at the meter base and main breaker? In theory, some things would, but once it overloads the stuff, it fries that out. But the pulse generated by EMPs is moving so fast, it'll normally go through those things before they even have a chance to physically react, if that makes sense. These things, and EMPs, I mean, you're talking milliseconds, and it's traveled great distances. Yeah, see, plumber, no, it will arc and jump, plus the wiring in your house will be affected. Again, wiring in your house, more things that are going to, the bigger wires, more things that are going to absorb electromagnetic pulse. Now, a lot of people talk about Faraday cages and things like this. The Faraday cage is a fairly simple concept. It's creating shielding on all sides that's just going to make a pulse fold around. Think of a rock placed in the middle of a stream. The water is just going to flow around it. Same with an EMP. The electromagnetic pulse is going to flow around the Faraday cage. All right, because it's just going to go right around it because it's following that metal framing that's going around it. Let's see. Your cage resists 600 volts EMP. It all depends. Like I said, I'm not an electrician here, and most electricians don't even. EMP electricians, not really the same thing, but even the silos are only 200K shielded. That's good to know. There are whole house suppressors on the market, but all bets are off if we get hit with a purpose-built EMP. Yes. If they're targeting infrastructure, your house is, if the power plant goes down, your house is going down too. All right. So everybody who's trying to shield their house, which has boggled my mind. People will spend good money on these whole house protectors and stuff. But at the end of the day, if all the power plants go down, if all of the transformers go down, it doesn't matter if your house, worry about the things you can control. It doesn't matter if your house is protected, because if it's going to take 50, 60, or 70 years to rebuild the infrastructure, your house is rotted anyway. So there's that, don't sweat all the small shit. All right. And most things are small shit in the grand scheme of things. Let's see. Window liquor prepper. Hey, thank you for coming. Oh, well, not like our ancestors lived with power. I'm sure we can do the same. Yes, we have lived with power a very, very short amount of time. And honestly, what has it done? It has created, again, back to the video from the other day, a consumer and a producer society. Everybody used to be producers. Everybody. Now, because of electricity, and I was talking with a friend about this, electricity, people say the root of all evil is money. No. The root of all evil is electricity. I know. You're like, what? What? Think about it. Yes, electricity does a lot of good things, but look at all the things the evil things that electricity brings you. You're worried about your kids, your grandkids sitting in front of tablets all day. Thank you, electricity. It's good for people on that that have to have medical, procedures done and life-saving equipment. You realize without electricity, most people wouldn't have gotten into the physical condition that they're in the first place to require the life-saving equipment. Think about that. These big people on scooter chairs that are going around at the Walmart, and they're 500 pounds. If electricity made that happen, made it possible, they made it happen by overindulgence. But will pull start generators fail during an EMP? That is a good question, Michael G. I would like to find out. I think they would like to chip us all, then EMP us, short circuit our asses. I don't know how that would work, because your chip would have to be in put into your somebody help me out there. Your nervous system. I don't think that's the way the chips would work, but who knows? Scott C says electricity is also centralized control. It could have been different, but they keep killing the inventors that would allow us to have power without the control. I'm not going to disagree with that. Jonathan Gardner, thank you for being here. It is what it is. I got a generator in 2020 and it's still in the box. Well, you should take it out and, do the things that you do. Add oil to it. All right. Remember, there are small, it's still an engine, and it still has other parts that can dry rot. Seals, O-rings, things like that. All right. So it's one of those things, use it or lose it. You got to use your equipment, maintain your equipment. So get that generator out of the box, put the oil in it, put the gas in it, get it fired up and get it running. And then every few months, start it up. Okay. And don't just leave the gas in it to go bad. It's another problem you're going to have when you need it. Bryce McBay, hey, how you doing? My generator will turn over on a propane, but not gas. Okay. Brian Smith says, lightning is the most powerful radiator on Earth. A lightning strike emits an electromagnetic pulse strong enough to be measured on the opposite side of the Earth. Cool. That's cool. Steam turns turbines. See, and that's another thing right there. Like Jeffrey Whitty says, it would not take me long after an EMP has went off before people start coming out with steam-driven steam turbines. All right, that's what when people say nuclear energy, a nuclear power plant, all nuclear does is heats water and turns water to steam to turn a turbine. That's what it is. Just like in the old days, they had coal-fired boilers. The coal was shoveled in, heated up the water turned into steam, turns the turbine. Right? Same thing. Nuclear is just a way of heating it. All right. People will go back to old technology, which isn't old because technically we still use it. We would just be using wood and coal to fire those turbines and get shit running again. Tesla turbines are extremely easy to make. I do not know what a Tesla turbine is. I'll admit it, don't know. But now I'm going to Google it after this. Storing power is hard. Well, storing power, if you're talking about electricity, battery banks. All right, battery banks. Semi trucks like the old war rig, 4 batteries all linked up. You can make battery banks and you can store electricity. Now, right now, you got to remember, yes, battery banks are expensive. All right, batteries are not cheap, especially good ones and big ones. They get pretty pricey. However, in a SHTF scenario, if an EMP were to hit and society collapses around you, the AutoZone would be a damn good place to find batteries. All right. The EMP is not going to fry out the batteries. It shouldn't. It should just be the circuitry of vehicles. So you don't have all these dead vehicles all along highways that are chock-a-block full of batteries. This is where we repurpose shit. You pull the batteries out. You go pull those solar panels out of your, EMP proofing or your basements. You put them up, you link them together, and you, bam, solar system to run shit. What are we talking about in the chat there? A test of 100 cars under a nuclear EMP still started right up. Not much to worry about. See, there you go. There you go. Still started up. So you'd have vehicles running at least until they ran out of fuel. Because again, if the grid goes down, so do the pumps. And that's where things, acid and lead, will still be around. Yes, Uncle Charlie. And that's where the problems will come in, where people will start acting badly. All right, where you'll have the marauders and the riots. It's the people in the cities, the consumers, going, oh shit, we have no food, we have no clean water, we must leave like locusts and spread across the land in search of food and water. All right, that's where you'll get most of the bad stuff. You will have bad stuff in small areas. You do right now. You go to the smallest, most Mayberry type town in America, and you will find a meth head, all right, or a crackhead, or a heroin addict. You'll find them, and they will behave badly most of the time. But like I said, after an EMP, that's when you're going to have the droves coming from the cities, because when they've embargoed an entire city because vehicles just simply can't get there anymore, people will leave. You don't just sit in the middle of a city with no food and everything is going to be okay. No, not going to happen. What are we talking about in the chat here? You can run used engine oil in a diesel engine. So I would be popping holes in oil pans. There you go. And you can convert vegetable oil. There's that. Oil from transformers. Those transformers on the poles, they're filled with oil. All right, those round ones that you see on the side of almost every other telephone pole in your city or town, filled with oil. Don't shoot any of those. Don't do that, because the oil will come out and then it will overheat and it will go pop. Don't do that. What's Jeffrey Watson? Give me 10 strong men and a wheel of pain. You could do a lot. Mineral oil. That's what it is, Jareth Hogan. Mineral oil is what's in those transformers, the round ones. So there's that. There's all kinds of ways to get off-grid power in the event that an EMP went down, went off, whether it be coronal mass ejection from the sun or some China balloon came and did something, which I'm not worried about a fucking China balloon. Even if they are spying, what's the point of spying when you got insiders? Think about it. But there's all kinds of ways. You hook a bicycle wheel to a damn alternator and put somebody on there and get the pedaling and hook it to a battery. Power. Ooh, there you go. Something for you to think about. All you people that are frustrated about gas stoves. All right. Now, I know they've been talking about trying to take your gas stoves, but in a post-EMP event, unless it's a propane stove where you're getting, and even if it's a propane stove where you were getting it delivered, eventually your stove not going to work no more because you're going to run out of fuel, right? So I'm kind of in the I'd like to have an electric range. I know I hate cooking on electric ranges, by the way, but the prepper in me says electric range. I can make electricity. I can store electricity in batteries. I can run the electricity to a stove, and I can still cook, even if it's 10 years post-EMP, post-coronal mass ejection. Either that or I need to get a wood stove, like an old-fashioned cast iron, feed the wood, put the coal in, coal or wood stove. That or electric. Because gas stove, though I love cooking on fire, realistically, logically, post-collapse, unless I'm tied directly into a natural gas line that comes from the well sites, the gas is going to stop coming, right? How many of y'all thought of that? Huh? I want my gas stove. I love gas stove, but in a shit hit the fan scenario, it stopped running. The gas stopped coming. Yes, wood stove. My gas stove identifies as electric. Its pronoun is Watt. that's great. That's good shit. Warlord, if you need to go that way, go inductive range, most efficient use of electricity. Okay, hold on. Let me. Pen, paper. I gotta write shit down, or I'm old. I forget shit. Inductive range. Oh, let's see. I guess we bought a can. Dome Seeker says we bought a cast iron feed it cook wood stove. It fell apart when we got it here. Damn, that sucks. Now you can still cook over, like those of you who were at the camp out this past summer, and saw my stove, or the same one that Dynamite has, and I believe Dome Seeker has the same stove now. But you can cook on top of that. So, I mean, there's that. But if you want to like use the oven, bake a turkey that you just shot with your musket, or bombed with your F-15, if you got one of them, then you're going to need an oven. And where to source the water? Well, see, I have a spring box on my property. So there's that. But source water, you can source water from the sky. Water is all around us. All right. The thing you need to do is purify it. All right. Don't drink water from the source without doing anything. Because eventually, maybe not the first time, but eventually you will die. Odds are. Bad stuff will happen to your belly. All right. Constant cooling tanks for the breeder feeder reactor. No. Bullets don't run out if you learn chemistry. That is true, Jareth Hogan. You can manufacture your own. Again, these things, they look similar to this, and you open them, and there are books. A lot of people want, it's funny because people are like, oh, eventually they'll run out of bullets. Someone will learn to make casings again. Someone will learn to do all that again. It's all in books. You just have to have the motivation. And right now, a lot of people don't have the motivation. But if the lights go out and aren't coming back, you will be amazed at how motivated some people will fucking become. Sorry, Robbie words. Just saying. Even a musket, yes, Jerry, muskets. They'll go on forever. You just keep making lead balls, from wheel weights off of cars that are abandoned, or you just go to a tire shop. They have buckets of lead, and they'll usually give it to you, or at least let you have it for $5-10. Black powder rifles are easy to keep going. Yes, I prefer black powder pistols. Always have. If I was going to use a rifle, I would always go with something a little more modern. But I do like it. I do like the old style black powder pistol, especially like the dueling pistols, which aren't actually called dueling pistols, but we know what they're for. Let's see what's in it. I don't even know. Somebody must have been saying something. It helps to have a lot of mercury for smelting lead. I guess. I don't know why you need mercury. You need mercury to separate silver. Robert Winslow says, "World, how about purifying fallout and tainted water?" Fallout, in the event there was a nuclear incident, all right, I would never drink from standing water, i.e., a pond, a lake. You'd want to find a river, someplace that's flowing. And then the ideal way, in my head, the ideal way. Now, lots of people will say Berkey's for this and Berkey, but they'll get rid of this, but they won't get rid of that. Or charcoal filters. I am big on distillation, evaporating water, turning it into a gas, moving it on, not making whiskey per se, but just making distilled water. It's the ultimate way to purify water. All right. And it's not a complex thing. A lot of people think, I mean, when you boil water on your pot, if you put a pot of water on your stove and turn it on and wait and watch, the water will go away. All that steam coming up, that all you're doing is catching that steam, catching it into a funnel that's going up a tube and condensing and falling back into another pot. And all the impurities are being left behind. As far as purifying radiated water from a standing source, that I wouldn't know. I'm not going to tell you. I would start Googling that shit, and I'd verify different sources. I'd go through different sources on the Google and see what different sources say. Army field manuals. Look for an Army field manual pertaining to radiation. All right, radiation exposure. Look for things like that, because the government actually does study shit like that. That would be my advice to you on that. I don't ever plan on drinking irradiated water, so I'll just stay away from places that are irradiated. Michael Holzman, hey, how you been? Damn it, I'm late. It's all right. We're here. Tuck Firings. Zero water is the boss system. Okay, I'll look that up. I have different water filtration like Sawyer Mini and stuff like that. But my prime reason for having filtration systems is parasites and bacteria, things like that. All right, things that will make you sick. But like I said, ultimately, distillation is the way to go. I haven't been bad. Water is one thing I haven't distilled. Yeah, you gotta love that shine. Yeah, I got some up there. I wasn't going to get into it tonight because I thought I was going to go to work because I haven't been to work in a couple of weeks. But apparently I'm not going to work till tomorrow because it hasn't started. Let's see. Scott C says, the fun thing about the Charlie Solis Tesla turbine, I already mentioned, is there's a Tesla fountain patent you also put in your generation loop, which you could tap distilled water off pretty easy. Well, that'd be cool. Again, don't worry about the EMP stuff. You will, if for some reason, we wake up in the morning and there's no electricity left, it's all gone. There's 79 people in here, and most of you, I'm pretty sure almost all of you will be absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. It'll be a little bit tough, be a little bit hard work, but you've already got your mind in the right place. You've already thought of the what if this, what if that. All right. Your hardest thing will be dealing with the people who haven't. All right. That is the hardest thing. That will be the hardest thing, in my opinion, when it all goes away and doesn't come back. All right. You'll figure it out. everything else. Everything else you're either already ready for or you've got plans to be ready for, which at that point you'll just expedite your plans. Simple enough. And if society totally collapsed, well, whatever you need, you'll go down to Lowe's and get, or Home Depot and get. Need a handsaw. Shit, I forgot to get a handsaw. I'm pretty sure you'll probably be the only one in there grabbing a fucking handsaw while everybody else is like trying to loot the safe and whatever, gas grills and stupid shit. Like, well, people are raiding Walmart. Go get you a handsaw or a hand drill. Let me look back in the chat here. I use 0 water behind my triple beam gravity filter, brings down from 30 parts per million to 0 parts per million. That's pretty good. Let's see. I'll be more productive without internet. Wouldn't we all? Dynamite, you just picked up 2 more manuals, FM 2176 and FM 2111. All right. Yeah. I have a feeling that's what you sent me, is some kind of a manual. When it gets here, I will do a review on it and we'll talk about it, see what's in there. They loot TVs, LOL. Not sure why. Yeah, our society will loot TVs post EMP. They will. Oh, fuck, the electricity's out. We better grab TVs. Man, that's what's going to happen. Penultimate reload is 3 months without the logistics and supply chain support the internet provides, and everyone used to air conditioning and grocery stores will be wishing it was back. No, they will. Most of them will probably be dead just because of those very things you mentioned. I don't think they'll be wishing it was back. I'll be thinking that might happen at 3 weeks, but by 3 months, they'll be dead. Fair enough. Yes, they'll be dead. I mean, I have family members that could not survive 2 weeks with no electricity, without going to Walmart, without going to a grocery store. I know this. So as long as you know basically how to, food, water, shelter, fire, protection, food, water, shelter, fire, protection. 5 things. Pick an order, put them in any order you want, but food, water, shelter, fire, protection, you'll be fine. And I guarantee most of these names of the people talking, and even the people that aren't talking that I see up there, 85 people, you'll be fine. Because even the federal agent that's watching, you, Mr. Agent man or woman, whatever your pronoun might be, you'll be fine. Because you got the right mentality. You're a survivor. You're of the survivor mentality. Hold on. I'll just pee, drink. So pee, drink, and repeat. Copy that. I live in a Canadian city and am poor. I am bone. Jeffrey Woody, well, hello. Hey, didn't know I had anybody up there, but hey, Scott, how you doing? Kids were asking about Uncle Scott today. Scott Home, right there. You see him in the chat. My kids watch King of the Hill, and they are convinced that the character Dale and Scott are the same. So you think about that, let that rattle around. But no, you'll be fine, Jeffrey. I would recommend, if you don't have a way to, fire, shelter, food, head south, because it's going to get cold up there in the wintertime. See, they love you, Uncle Scott. All right, Uncle Charlie, thank you for being here. Appreciate you. Grapes leaves, including muscadines, are eatable and full of vitamins. Good knowledge. I will be going north, sir. Okay, you are going to be heading into the wilderness then, which is great because it goes back to population density. So as long as you know those 5 things, have a plan and a backup plan and an alternate plan and all that, PACE, primary, alternate, contingency, emergency. As long as you have those plans for those things, as far away as you can get. All right. Well, I hope this helps some people, gives you something to think about. Remember, not back to the Dark Ages, not back to the Stone Age, no matter what somebody says, because unless they wipe out all libraries, mass book burning before, that would suck, because then we'd be starting over at the Stone Ages going, how do we make this round thing called a wheel? But we already have the knowledge. So it's just a matter of accessing it. Says Foxfire books are a must-have for preppers. There you go. You can't tell me that an F-22 pilot or any of the equipment aboard his jet could see a test tube size object on one of those balloons being dropped or opened. You never know. Yeah, because now they're talking about, well, it might have been the, phase 3 of the virus. Now here's something off topic before we close out. What if, tinfoil hat time, what if the whole reason they did what they've done over the past 3 years to separate, this doesn't work, this does work, separate us into us, that shit didn't work, was to simply come out with the next thing. And then those people that are already on the, I'll take the shot bandwagon, get the next injection, and the real shit hits and they're okay. And we're the ones screwed. So they get left with all their sheep, and all of us free thinkers take a dirt nap. That would suck. That'd be a plot twist. All right. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate you. To my baby sharks, that he loves you, and I'll see you again soon. I'm out of here.